Well, hello there and welcome. Camera in a new angle, I'm still getting used to it. The Wii WIng, the Wii WIng 2 I should say, is completed, and I just wanted to run through the build before I took it out for the maiden. Some details the same as the Wii WIng number 1 here, and that is the motor. This is the DYS B1104 running at 5400 kV. The props are these little Taro 3020s. So I can't seem to get those anymore, but general 3020s will do. Under there is a 6 amp plush ESC, which I pilfered out my old wooden quad build. This is a slightly different receiver. On the original build I used an actual FreeSky receiver. This is a FreeSky compatible one, but it seems to do a bit more because it could do S-Bus and PPM and general PWM channels, so I thought I'd give that a go. And it comes with, you see, you got this little wire here. It's slightly taller on this one, so maybe it'll work better. Servo wise, these white ones are these 1.6 gram ones that came from Hobby King. These are now the 1.7, if that's accurate, gram servos called the Orlando from Banggood. Again, you're not supposed to run them on 5 volts, but they don't seem to explode, so that's probably okay. Same Nanotech 182S, although you can fit a slightly bigger battery in there, so I might have a couple of tries with stuff. I think I've got some 200 and somethings around. So, slight difference up at the front here. We've got the Eachine VTX03, which is basically like a TX03, except it hasn't got the camera on it. So what I've got the camera here is from AKK Tech, one of their 2 mini cameras they sent me to test. This is called the KC28, which is a lot like this Luminaire one, which I actually have in a quad. Now there is another difference here, which this seems to use some sort of sleeve dipole here. Not sure what picture that's going to give me. I mean, we're not going distances, and we're not in environments that has a lot of reflections, but it'd be interesting to see how that goes. So there you go. Oh yeah, the other bit people got slightly concerned about is when I said I was going to use duct tape to laminate this. This is laminated, and hopefully you can see it's a bit shiny. There's actually all sorts of joined and horrible things if you look closely, but it feels pretty strong. But the stuff I was using is it's a duct tape brand, but it's essentially a clear packing tape. So any sort of clear, decent tape is going to do the job and make it a lot stronger. Not that really thick duct tape that you'd use, you know, to mend pipes and stuff, obviously. That's the wrong stuff. But yeah, bound up, on the radio, all ready. Some batteries charged, and let's go to the field and try it. No cows this time, in my field at least. Actually, there's some cows further away, but if I'm over that way, I've gone really wrong, so it shouldn't be bad. So, yeah, join me in a second, we'll have a jump cut and we'll get out to the field and see how this goes. So we start off with the traditional line of sight maiden, although not a quick one. I basically say, can I do some turns, does it fly? Yes it does, okay, I'll land, and let's get on with the FPV part. And off we go, my normal relaxed launch now, so I don't like to move too much. And this is the first lipo, where it was a little bit overcast, quite cloudy, so not quite so much sun. It was interesting to see how the camera did in these circumstances though, as it's obviously just a very light CMOS one, and I wanted to make sure it would cope in reasonably overcast conditions. Yeah, and it does okay, I think, as does the Wii WIng. Obviously, with any plane this size and weight, the little gusts of wind are going to sort of knock it around a bit, but that's kind of part of just how it flies. You kind of get used to that, and there's a lot of, you know, input to do. It's a very active fly in terms of a wing. It's not just going to cruise there for you. You're always going to need to do stuff with it. Now, I made a very big schoolboy error in this first flight. Having had a landing, I decided it wasn't good enough and came round again, only to find I wasn't recording in my goggles, try and press the button and hit the wrong one, meaning I was blind for about 15 seconds and the wing went down somewhere in the field. After sort of an hour or so of looking, I eventually launched the Volonex, the little trainer plane from Banggood that I just put some FPV gear on. Not flown at FPV before, so a bit nervous I'd be looking for 2 planes, but gave it a go and seemed to find a shape here and on a second pass it looked good. So recovered it and flew again. This time the sun had come out, making much nicer conditions, so the camera didn't have to work quite so hard. Still a little bit gusty though, but you know, you can never have a perfectly calm day, especially in this sort of field where you've got these trees sort of surrounding it. They always stir up the wind around them like that. So what I did find after the first lipo is, although I'd hit the CG, which is 30mm from basically where the motor mount goes on, it seemed to fly a lot better being slightly nose heavy. All I had to do was move the battery more towards the front than the back, and it was more stable. That's going to depend a little bit about how gusty the wind is, but for these conditions I found myself not getting turned around quite so much and the whole thing a little bit easier. I was pleasantly surprised to find that the little sleeve dipole on that VTX didn't seem to have any problems at all. I obviously was going into corners and I was sort of led to believe this would be linear polarized and thus going into a corner or a roll would cause a problem, but it seemed absolutely fine. I mean, obviously the max distance here was about 200 meters because the receiver was only rated for around 300 meters, but yeah, absolutely no problems. And obviously it's a lot tougher than a skew on something that might, you know, hit the grass quite a lot, because I don't think I managed one clean landing of this one just because, you know, the gusts of wind were coming up and turning me over all the time. That said, there's so much long grass, nothing was going to hurt it. So yeah, this is the Wii WIng 2, loving it. Even more than the Wii WIng 1, and this one didn't get eaten by cows in the maiden, which is always good. I'm liking this camera. It's a little bit lighter than the CCD I've got on the other one. No distortions, and it seems to handle the conditions okay, although it's mainly sunny and it's always going to look better here. The only thing I might do is try a slightly bigger battery, since it'll take one, and it'll obviously cope with that weight okay. Yeah, but for now I'll give a myriad of links in the description about the various places I got these. Obviously the plane comes from G. Collins, who you need to talk to in a forum. Most of the other stuff comes from Banggood. Originally the ESCs came from Hobby King, but others are available. So I'll be back flying this again when I can get the chance. It's sort of dependent on the wind, but the good thing is I don't have to be in a large space to fly it around. It will just fly anywhere. In the meantime, of course, I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.